Look like this? Okay. How can I with you? Come on. Say hello to my little friend! Okay. Yolanda?
You guys can see here we are getting ready to put the first panel down on the doors. So on the S10 there is the cup holder that goes right here, so we're going to go ahead and cut this little hump out. You guys can see here all the way across. Now what I'm going to do here is line this up with the panel on the top and just go ahead and cut a little section right here out. That way we can go ahead and get this to stay completely flush. We're going to go ahead and take this off right now, and I will be showing you guys how we're going to mock that up. Okay, you guys can see here we went ahead and got everything cut out. Now up here you can see on the top, what I went ahead and did is just cut a little notch. That way this can sit pretty much flush, and then we'll stretch the fleece from here to here, all the way around the edge. Same thing over here, and you guys can see I went ahead and got these little circles cut out. That way we can kind of have an idea where the speakers are going to be. Same thing up here, cut this out, cut here, here. So flimsy. And here, I want this to sit flush. Over here, we'll sit a little bit farther, just because the door and the seat sits a little bit closer over here, so we don't want this all the way to the back as well. Okay, you guys can see here, we pretty much cut everything down. This will sit pretty much flush once we put the other face panel or the beauty panel, whatever you guys like to call it. So you guys can see here, we got cut. We will wrap fleece over here. Same thing over here, that way we get this nice curve all the way around. We are going to fill this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a screw, set it here, and set one over here. That way we don't get a tilt up and down or left to right, and then that way we can go ahead and stretch the fleece, staple it, and use some adhesive and get everything nice and curved out. Now we got everything mocked up. I just have these screws to set it temporary. You guys can see it has a little bit of a gap here. That is to match the gap over here. This one's keeping it down, as well as over here. So now what I'm going to do is, you don't want to go ahead and stretch your fleece and just put it on this. It will not really adhere that well. So what we're going to do is use a 40 grit on a little air grinder and just scuff up the edges all the way around. Like I said, we're going to fill this body line here and this little line here. So let's go ahead and get that scuffed up, use some adhesive, and we're going to go ahead and stretch that fabric over. So the adhesive that we are going to be using is the Loctite spray adhesive. This is the heavy. So you guys can see here, we just go ahead and spray all along the edges. Now you want to let this dry for about a minute or two before you go ahead and tack down the cloth. So let's go ahead and get that done. Sorry guys, I don't have my tripod that should be coming in tomorrow. That way I can go ahead and get this stood up right here, and I can get you guys a good view of everything that we are doing. So like I was explaining to you guys, this little channel that we went ahead and did here, that is so you can run the staples, you run the fiberglass, and then we'll just go ahead and cut this little excess here, and then we'll sand it. That way you don't have overlapping layers of fiberglass and Bondo and all this stuff up here on the top. So let's go ahead and finish these staples here. We're gonna go ahead and lay some fiberglass resin down, and then we'll go ahead and cut the excess off as well. Here we went ahead and got everything glued down as well as stapled. Now here with the spray adhesive, I just went ahead and overlapped it, set it down, let it sit, let it dry, and went ahead and just take a nice new sharp razor blade and just push down very firmly, and you guys can cut your piece. Now you guys can see here, this is where the arm pad is. I went ahead and cut here, as well as all the way down on the edge over here. Now I just need to cut this little excess bit in right here as well. So we're gonna go ahead and make some fiberglass resin. We're gonna go ahead and start putting some fiberglass resin down. Once we let this dry, we'll go ahead and take the razor blade and cut all this. We're not going to fiberglass this or put any resin on here. So after you lay down the fiberglass resin, and you cut away the excess, this is what it's going to look like. Now we're going to go ahead and let this dry, and we'll go ahead and cut this little bit of excess off here. I didn't want to cut back too much and have it peel too far. So let's go ahead and let this dry overnight. And then I'm going to shape the body line here, and I'm going to add something else here as well that is raised out a little bit with a little plexiglass window, and we're going to put some writing. We'll have that backlit as well as having the speakers backlit as well. Now you guys can see we have 2 layers of the chop mat all the way around. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is add body filler pretty much from here to here, but we're going to go ahead and cut this excess bit away to where it's even with the wood. Go ahead and clean up all this sloppy stuff on the bottom as well. We're going to go ahead and sand this to where it's semi-smooth, and then we'll go ahead and add some body filler, get everything smoothed out. Same thing with these edges all the way around. So now that we got this done, we're gonna go ahead and mock this up, drill a few holes. Now these are for the speaker grill pegs. One will go onto the bottom, one will go onto the face. That way we can go ahead and pop that face off and on. You guys can see here. This clicks in there. So you guys can see here we drill a hole through the top and the bottom. That way we can go ahead and get this all lined up. Nice. And now that we got those pins mocked up and some pieces over there drying, now you're gonna go ahead and want to start doing the Bondo. Now this is the part that is going to take the longest. So you guys can see here I tackled the biggest section where I have the most contour and curves. Same thing over here and over here. Now these are all the low spots, so we went ahead and make them a little bit higher so we can even them out. So you guys can see here the parts that are going to need the smallest amount, I went ahead and left empty. That way we can go ahead and work these nice and smooth, and then we'll work this to this. Same thing over here, this to this. So after I went ahead and put the first layer of Bondo, you guys can see here I already started sanding. Now we went ahead and got all this stuff blended nice and smooth. Now you guys can see here I have another fresh layer of Bondo all the way around. Now this was just to fill in the small little pinholes, some small spots up here on the gaps I went ahead and done. So I just went ahead and put a light skim coat all the way across. We will hit that with the sander one more time. Sorry I did not show you guys on sanding everything. I'm sure you guys know what sanding looks like and what it takes. What I use is this sander here, Harbor Freight, to knock down the high spots, and then I just use this sander to go ahead and get everything nice and smooth. And then I just use sandpaper and my fingers to get in here all the small little grooves. Same thing over here and these little curves here as well. So I will go ahead and let this dry. We'll go ahead and sand this down smooth one more time, and then I will show you guys that. I don't know what I'm going to do as far as leather or how I'm going to wrap the dash, but whenever I come to that point, I will show you guys what I decided on and what I will be doing. So let's go ahead and let this dry. I will show you guys a little bit of sanding that and the final product of sanding that finish.